all your favorite hats at the same time? Well, we wouldn't either. That is why we suggest you use only what you need. Switch off all electrical appliances and lights in our newsrooms. Remember, use only what you need and save power today. Switch and save. Zesco, powering the nation.
Apple Max. Take it to the max.
Want to just get out of town with your friends and family? Are you having a corporate getaway and have no adequate transport? Then this here is what you need to listen to. A brand new 35-seater Yutong luxury bus is now up for hire at an affordable and negotiable rate. It comes fully equipped with aircon, TV for your relaxation, music soothing your trip, and DVD players to give you variety. Book now by calling 0955-0966 or 977-844-141.
What makes the new Yo-Yo Chipsy so unique? The new Yo-Yo Chipsy so unique. 100% natural ingredients. Nothing artificial. Just a pure experience of freshness. Chipsy potato chips. We know you'll love them.
Hey girl, what's your name? Let me talk to you for just a minute. Where you live and what you like to do?
Apple Max, baby. You need to give me Apple Max, baby.
Okay, I'm just trying to get with someone real cause you look so free. So let's chill, have a drink with a guy like me.
Apple Max, baby. You need to give me Apple Max, baby.
A quality product from Californian Beverages.
Pure Jungle.
Here are the headlines. Land wrangles erupt between taxi drivers and investors in Makeni area. Zambia Electoral Alliance calls for ECZ's independence through a new constitution. 50+1 clause in the constitution will enhance democracy, charges circled. And in international news, Boko Haram kills 70 in Cameroon border town of Fotoko. More, do stay tuned. My name is Gwen Wilam. Taxi drivers operating from Embassy Supermarket threatened to manhandle the investor running the supermarket after they were told to vacate the area. A Prime TV news crew that rushed to the scene found the drivers demanding for the investor only identified as Mr. Aki to address them. The drivers say they have been ordered to leave the area, but they have insisted that they will not move because the area does not belong to Mr. Aki. They said that Mr. Aki has gone beyond his boundary, adding that the land in question belongs to the council. And Chawama Ward 1 Councillor Port Fatembo told Prime TV News in a telephone interview that he could not confirm whether the land in question belongs to Mr. Aki. He has advised both parties to resolve the matter amicably and ensure that it ends in a win-win situation. We have more in the following report. Senior Chief Msele of Solwezi District has shot and wounded a suspected mentally challenged person after mistaking him for a trespasser. The incident happened last night around 23 hours at Chief's Palace in Musele area. Outgoing Northwestern Province Police Commissioner Eugene Sibote confirmed that Dawson Kaona, aged 54, of the same village, was shot with a revolver pistol on his right foot and left elbow, and also sustained a deep cut on the forehead. Mr. Sibote says Chief Msele told police in his statement that Mr. Kaona trespassed at his palace. He asked that police found 7 empty cartridges that were fired from the same pistol. Mr. Kauna, who is a suspected mentally challenged person, is admitted at Solwezi General Hospital. Mr. Sibote said police have not charged Senior Chief Msele, but is waiting for him to avail documents for the pistol that was used in the crime. The Zambia Electoral Alliance says the Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ's autonomy and independence should be enhanced through the enactment of a new constitution. ZEA spokesperson Guest Nyirenda said at a media briefing that the new constitution will give the commission enough powers to be in full control of the electoral process and punish political parties that violate the Electoral Code of Conduct. Mr. Nyirenda has urged the ECZ to start the civic and voter education, including the voter registration exercise. He says this will help address the voter apathy that characterized the just-ended elections. He says the 17% turnout in Nyimba and Chipangali constituencies and an average of 34% is worrying and should be addressed soon. A man of Mpika district is appealing for financial assistance to help nurse his grandson who is in need of an artificial leg to enable him walk. Mr. Chileshe Mense says the child was born with one leg while the other leg could not develop fully. Speaking in an interview with Prime TV, Mr. Mense says the life of the 6-year-old boy is difficult because he has to be carried for him to move. He has described his stay at the University Teaching Hospital, UTH, as difficult because his grandchild has not yet been attended to. Mr. Mense has appealed to UTH's management to conduct an operation on him and give him an artificial leg. And Southern African Center for Constructive Resolution of Disputes, SACOD, has charged that the inclusion of the 50+1 clause in the new constitution will help enhance the country's democracy. Speaking to journalists in Lusaka this morning, SACOD Executive Director Boniface Chembe said the clause will compel candidates to campaign vigorously and ensure that they touch all parts of the country. Mr. Chembe said this will reduce the allegation of tribal voting pattern. He said it is sad that some sections of society are talking about tribal voting pattern, adding that such trends are very detrimental to the democratic tenets. Mr. Chembe further said his organization does not believe that there was any voting on tribal lines in any part of the country. National Party has appealed to International Institute of Democracy and Conflict Resolution, speaking on issues of national importance without consultation. Party President Reverend Richard Kabulu says it is saddening that the Institute of Democracy is calling for a constituent assembly to adopt the constitution as opposed to a referendum. Reverend Kabulu adds that giving out views without consultation is narrow, misleading, and an infringement on people's rights and freedom. He says in a democracy, individual views do not override majority views at all levels because the majority of people have spoken that they want a people-driven constitution through a referendum. Reverend Kabulu's comments come barely a day after the International Institute of Democracy and Conflict Resolution urged Republican President Edgar Lungu to consider adopting the constitution through constituent assembly. Mr. Kabulu said this in a statement released to Prime TV. Before we take our first break, here are the headlines once again. Land wrangles erupt between taxi drivers and investors in Makeni area. Zambia's Electoral Alliance calls for ECZ's independence through a new constitution. For more stories, do stay tuned.
all your favorite hats at the same time? Well, we wouldn't either. That is why we suggest you use only what you need. Switch off all electrical appliances and lights in unused rooms. Remember, use only what you need and save power today. Switch and save. Zesco, powering the nation.
What's your name? Let me talk to you for just a minute. Where you live and what you like to do?
Apple Max, baby. You need to give me Apple Max, baby.
Okay, I'm just trying to get with someone real cause you look so free. So let's chill, have a drink with a guy like me.
Apple Max, baby. You need to give me Apple Max, baby.
A quality product from Californian Beverages.
Potato sticks, freaky fries. Get that awesome crunch.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. Republican Vice President Inonge Wina has congratulated COMESA for highlighting programs of women and youth empowerment. Ms. Wina says despite good progress and initiatives being implemented, the journey towards gender equality and empowerment of women is still ongoing. She says if COMESA region is to succeed in its gender agenda, there is need to ensure that gender is thoroughly integrated in all its policies, programs, and budgets. Ms. Wina says the region should also address issues of limited access to productive resources such as finance, land, credit, employment, and education. Ms. Wina said this at the official opening of the 80th meeting of the COMESA Minister's Responsibility of Gender and Women's Affairs. Meanwhile, Ms. Wina has observed that COMESA cannot alone afford the cost associated with gender inequalities, as these impose high personal, social, and economic costs on the people and cultures. Ms. Wina has further urged all member states to continue working on issues of women and youth empowerment. Former President Rupia Banda has been appointed as co-leader of an election observation mission to Nigeria as the country heads to general elections next week. Mr. Banda has been invited by the United States-based National Democratic Institute for International Affairs, NDI, whose chairperson is former U.S. Secretary of State Madeleine Albright. In his invitation letter, NDI Senior Associate and Director for Central and West Africa, Dr. Christopher Fomunyois, says Mr. Banda's experience will benefit the NDI delegation as Nigeria faces the most competitive election. The former head of state will co-lead the NDI delegation with former U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs John Carson, former Niger Prime Minister Mahamadou Danda, former Mauritius Prime Minister Nevin Ragolam, and former Governor of Colorado Bill Ritter. The Ministry of Home Affairs says the Biometric National Registration Card NRC pilot project will in the next few weeks be rolled out. Ministry spokesperson Moses Siwali says the testing of the equipment for the project will be completed in the second week of February so as to ensure a smooth implementation of the project. He has added that the Minister of Home Affairs, Davis Mwila, has had talks with the National Registration Office to ensure the smooth transition of the project. The Home Affairs spokesperson has since called on all citizens in Lusaka to ensure they use the pilot project to renew their NRCs. Mr. Swali says the insurance process will be done gradually, adding that the ministry will embark on a massive sensitization program to the public concerning the exercise. We now take our second and final break, but still to come is international news. Do join me after this break.
Apple Max. Take it to the max.
What makes the new Yo-Yo Chipsy so unique? 100% natural ingredients. Nothing artificial. Just a pure experience of freshness. Chipsy potato chips. We know you'll love them.
Welcome back, and now for the rest of the news. Boko Haram militants have reportedly killed at least 70 people in an attack on the Cameroonian town of Fotoko on the border with Nigeria. The Islamist militants attacked civilians in their homes and in the town's mosque, local officials said, setting many buildings on fire. The attack comes a day after a regional force said it had driven the militants from a Nigerian town near Fotoko. The Boko Haram insurgency has left thousands dead over the last 6 years. More than 1 million people have also been displaced by the militants, who now control a large stretch of land in northeastern Nigeria. Rescue teams in Taiwan are continuing to search for the 12 people who remain unaccounted for after a plane crashed in a river. 31 people are now known to have died when the TransAsia 72 plane came down in Taipei's Kelang River on Wednesday morning. 15 survivors were pulled from the wreckage, including a 2-year-old boy. Taiwan's aviation regulator has ordered all operators of ATR planes to conduct special checks. Many of the passengers were Chinese tourists, and China will reportedly participate in a probe into the crash. The death toll was expected to rise as rescue teams searched the river for the missing passengers. Aviation authorities in Taiwan said the pilot and co-pilot were among the dead. Well, that's all we had for you on our main news desk this evening. Before we go, we take a look at the headlines once again. Land wrangles erupt between taxi drivers and investors in Makeni area. Zambia Electoral Alliance calls for ECZ's independence through a new constitution. 50+1 clause in the constitution will enhance democracy, charges circled. And in international news, Boko Haram kills 70 in Cameroon border town of Fotoko. Well, that's all we had for you. This has been Gwen Wheeler. Thank you so much for watching, and enjoy the rest of our programs.
Hey girl, what's your name? Let me talk to you for just a minute. Where you live and what you like to do?
Apple Max, baby. You need to give me Apple Max, baby.
Okay, I'm just trying to get with someone real cause you look so free. So let's chill, have a drink with a guy like me.
Apple Max, baby. You need to give me Apple Max, baby.
A quality product from Californian Beverages.